3, 2. Oh, there you go. Hey, what's going on, people? What is going on? You are now tuning in to the Heavy Hitters. Let's get it. Boo, boo, boo. Boo, 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 boo. Hello. Hello.
What the hell is going on?
Side of the thing. I'm leaving this.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what the heck is going on with Kevin. Kevin, are you there? Are you okay? No, he's not okay. I guess I'll start things out because Kevin has lost his damn mind. I don't know what's going on. So, welcome to the Heavy Hitters. I am your host today, Kev. The Heavy Kill is the Man Mike show. Is the Man Mike and Juice show. 2/3 of the Heavy Hitters. When he come back, it's gonna be the Heavy Hitters. It's gonna be the full cast. So, I Lee Coleman is already talking his normal crap. We're not gonna get the show, so you guys, I'm stalling and I'm just talking to myself and I'm pretending like I know what I'm doing, but I really don't know what I'm doing. And Juice sitting there, Juice doing his thing. And I still don't know where Kevin is at this point in time because this is it's really weird. I don't know what the hell happened, and I can see Blackberry, I can see Floyd, JB, Drake Murphy, and we're doing a different style of the real roll call. All right, but when Kev gets in here and I'm just stalling, I'm talking to myself because I don't want to give up too much right now. And Kevin still is not here, so I don't know why it's taking him 10 minutes to get back into the room, you guys. So yeah, it's he's still not here. Dude, what the heck is going on? What's going on?
The ghost of Dirk Cutter then took K Styles out, man.
the ghost. I guess that's what it is. It normally don't take him this long to get back into the room. So yeah, and here he is. All right, so here he is. So I'm stuttering and I know what I want to do. I can host when I know what to do, but I don't know what's going on with Kev and it's still okay. There we go. So you guys hold on. Yeah. Uh, I know he having fun with this shit right now. And it's still not, and he's still not here. So this is not what we intended. All right.
They took me out, man. They took me out.
I'm trying to figure out because what I don't want to do is start a show. I don't want to start the show and speak on things before you actually get back on. So I'm sitting up here and sound like a complete fucking moron. All right, that's what I sound like, just stuttering and making up stuff and really talking nonsense and not really saying anything like right now. Yeah, that's what I was doing for the last 4 minutes. Yeah, if you see this is the stuff that you can't make up. This is the stuff you can't make up when you talk about doing shows. All right, so it don't matter how long you've been doing it. This is the stuff that you can't make up. So, Kill, what in the hell happened?
Hey, Hey, just like somebody said, I think the all-ass all-stars came in and did something to my damn stream.
You mean the Monstars from Space
No,
Jam? What are we talking about?
no.
Like that?
I think there was a pick. I think there was a picket ride of trash ass Falcon football players came and fucked my damn internet up.
So what you saying is
Karma's a
what his
bitch.
name
They
is?
just say that.
The one who be doing that, not Ricardo Allen. The one who be laying on the ground with the pictures. Thomas Day Cruz. Thomas Day Cruz rallied the troops and said the hell with K-Style. That's what happened.
I think that's what happened. Yeah, I think the fear of Thomas Dimitrov finally
Right,
came
your
back.
brain is scattered. What the hell is going on? What the hell going on, kid? Like what? Like
I don't know. Can you hear me?
He still don't know it. I can hear you. We can hear you fine.
We can hear you, bro.
I don't know. Hold on. Golly. Try to get this thing to go right. But what's going on, people? What's going on, man? As y'all had this 5, 6, 7 minute blunder of a failure of a heavy hitter show. As the famous words of R-Truth, my bad. What?
How the hell is your bad? You don't know what the hell going on, kid. What huh?
Well, let's just get on with the show. We can't be doing this
now. Hey, what y'all don't know, I've been giving Kill Hill all day long. I've been giving
him something. I thought, hey, we keep trying to tell y'all it's harmonious on here. Outside of this, it's all chaos. But enough about that, man. Let's go ahead and get straight into it, man. As y'all already know, and you see it's so messed up, we ain't even got the music playing. But how y'all doing today? By the way? Jew, what's going on with you?
Hey man, we just chilling. It's one of those shows.
This is the first time I've ever seen Kill this out of. This is the first time I ever seen him this out of sorts. I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
It's good, okay. We're gonna get back on the right track, man.
Hold on.
You don't know what to do.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. All right, I'm good now, man. Hey, let's go ahead and get right into it tonight, man. As we already know, you are getting the Heavy Hitters season review as far as what our thoughts was for this Falcon season and what can we look forward to for 2023. So anybody want to kick this off the right way? We gonna let the minister run point for this one. Go and bless us with the word, man.
Most definitely. Y'all did a show a couple weeks ago. I think it was like maybe 2 weeks ago when you talked about possibly doing like a review of the season. And I put in the chat, basically, to me, this 2022 season was one of those years where these young players got to learn. Like, it was a development year. That's why I take it as a development year. We played a lot of young players, our rookies. We had a lot of guys on 1-year deals, but we were one of the youngest teams in the NFL. So I really think that this was one of those years, like we say, you live and you learn, like experience. These players got experience. We were in pretty much every single game, and our players learned the hard way what not to do at the end of games. Like when we talk about closing games, we literally had a different scenario pretty much every single week that cost us games. You guys know I always talk about those 3 to 4 plays in the game that changed the game. We've seen that this year, whether it was Taquan Graham literally fumbling the ball without anybody touching him, Whether it was Mariota ball getting tipped against the Commanders at the goal line getting intercepted. But it's one thing that I actually like prior to us doing this review, I kind of thought about that was kind of to me what changed the whole season. And what's so ironic about it is it was the game that we were at, that Chicago Bears game. I don't know if you guys remember after that Chicago Bears game, we won the game, but when we did our post game show or we did the heavy hitter show that next week, we kind of talked about Kyle Pitts and Taquan Graham and those guys getting injured in that Chicago Bears game. And to me, that was the game that turned the table for the Atlanta Falcons, if we think about it. Because after that, we went on a bad losing streak after losing those two guys. And I think if we had Kyle Pitts and Taquan Graham down the stretch, we possibly could have been in the playoffs or won some of those games that we lost that came down to those last, the Commanders game, the Ravens game, all of those games, the Steelers, all of those games was right there for the taking. But I think if you have Kyle Pitts and you have Taquan Graham, we possibly get into the playoffs. So to me, those two guys getting injured at the time, I remember saying like, yeah, we're going to be fine. We can still run the ball and things of that nature. But those guys were more to this team than that I let on. I didn't realize that Taquan Graham, I knew he was a good player, but when he left, he wasn't there with him and Grady Jarrett on the inside of that defensive line. We seen it got ugly down the stretch. It really got ugly. And not having Kyle Pitts, even though Michael Pruitt did step up, we know Kyle Pitts is a game breaker. So that was to me the like when you say the turning point in the season, that Chicago Bears game that we was at to me was the turning point in the season. Now that I look back on it, because I'm like, dang, after that game, we went on like a 3 or 4 game losing streak, which really pretty much turned the tide, even though every week the Buccaneers were losing as well, and the Carolina Panthers, all of those teams were kind of losing as well, so they kept us in the hunt. I really think if we had Kyle Pitts down the stretch and Taquan Graham, we possibly go further because we know because of the cap situation, we didn't have that depth, and that's when that that depth reared its ugly head down the stretch.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. Hold on, let me make sure I do some voodoo right quick. Okay, so we good. So I can't do the whole show without giving out the roll call, man. I don't know. Look, I don't know what they did to me, but I got roll call a few names, man. Y'all mind if I do that right quick, dude?
Do your thing, man.
All right.
I already kind of did a little. I did a little.
You did a little bit.
I did a little bit.
It's a few. I got to do at least a few names. I got to do at least a few names because everybody's so used to me doing a few names here, man. So I just want to get the latest guys, latest people. So Brandon Levy, appreciate you coming in. D. Coleman, Brian Peoples, Lee 85. We got Eric Mack in the building, Gears 5, Jack Savage. And let me get a couple more. Got Nathan Floyd, Dreddy. All right. Okay. So my idea of the 2022 season as far as the Atlanta Falcons wasn't necessarily I say they hit my expectations record-wise. As we already know, it's the second consecutive 7-10 season for the Atlanta Falcons. But the philosophy changed, took a 180. Where we asked for running the damn ball, it made me feel good inside to see them running the damn ball. Now, few plays there, few plays here. Like you said, Mariota fumble, Grady Jarrett, roughing the passer call, the interception against Washington, interception against the Rams. Like I said, you got all these little plays here, and this is like the second year in a row where we've seen this team have these 1, 2, 4 plays cost them victories. Like I said, this is the sign of a young team. You got a lot of young guys on the squad. And even though they have hit what my expectations for the win for their wins, the future is bright. Because you literally seen a clipped wing Falcon team literally stay in a lot of these games despite their deficiencies, not being able to pass the ball like they need to, not being able to get sacks like we want them to, not getting as many of the turnovers. But they've shown you in the second half of a lot of these games this year, hey, this is a tough team. I'm going to pass that one on to Mike, man, see what he got for us.
Well, Jesus told me to be nice about it, so I'm going to try to put it as nice as I possibly can. Yeah, God told me before we did the show, to be nice. He said, be nice, Mike. Be nice to the moronic people who can't understand simple concepts of football. So he told me to be nice. So I'm going to be nice. You got to understand one thing, and one thing, this is simple as I can put it. This team is 7-7, 2 straight years. 7-10, 2 straight years. Again, this team is 7-10 for 2 straight years. What did that tell you? Not much has really changed when it comes down to the coach and their philosophy and their talent. Like, these are 2 completely different teams. 2 completely different teams. This man went 7-10 with 2 completely different teams from year 1 and year 2. This is the first time he's able to get his players. Okay, let me repeat that. This is not the San Francisco 49ers where they pretty much have the same team outside of Christian McCaffrey and Purdy. This is a completely different quarterback, completely different running backs, completely different wide receivers, offensive line, defensive line, DBs. I can go on and on and on. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because one thing didn't change, and that's the record. That just tells me that's great coaching. If you have 2 completely different teams, but you have almost the exact same record, that tells you that this guy knows what the hell he's doing. So again, like I've stated several times, if you cannot see that Arthur Smith is a great coach, you are blind and moronic. I don't know any other team in the history of the NFL that has had to deal with what the Falcons have had to deal with no freaking money. Name another coach that you've seen that took on this job with no money and won at least 5 games. No money and won at least 5 games. Falcons don't have no money. The dude still went 7-10. So again, if anybody wants to question Arthur, question him on his style of offense. Just say you don't like his style of offense. His offense is bush you in the mouth and bush you in the mouth again. And then we're going to bush you in the mouth after I bust you in the mouth. And I'm going to bust you in the mouth again after I bust you in the mouth 2 more times. So basically what this is Mike Tyson punch out. This offense is Mike Tyson punch out. That's what this is, okay? This is fight night. Not Friday night, man. This is fight. Offense is all about. The land of the real, okay? I'm gonna steal something out of the matrix. It's the land of the real. Only real football players and real football fans enjoy what they're seeing with this team. Because that everybody's slobbering all over. The 49ers, yeah, we kicked their ass at their own job, at their own style. We kicked their ass at their own game. And they had better players on offense, defense, and special teams. So I say all that to say this. This man deserved to be coach of the year. Because, again, I have never seen any coach in the NFL that had to deal with no money. The Falcons have an NFL record, $80 million in dead cap. And he had to put a team together. He and Terry Fontenot had to put a team together with $80 million in dead cap. Tell me another coach that has done that. I will wait for you to find one. So that's all I got to say. Arthur Smith, coach of the year, period.
You don't mind if I put that in
one more thing.
What you got?
One more thing. I gotta say this. Though. Not only did he have to deal with that, but he had to deal with a mother plucker that decided that he wanted to put a parlay bet on his damn phone. Don't worry about a wide receiver that decided I'm not going to play no more. I don't want to play no more. So he got off the field. He got off the field issues. We got on the field issues because we ain't got no damn money. And this guy was still supposed to be. And the third one, I know I'm a little bit long at the tongue right now, but you got to deal with D-Led every damn day on top of it, okay? Look at that. So I'm done. I'm going
to say it like this a little bit better. Jew, Mike, let me ask you a question. Have you seen anybody build a house with $5? Is it possible you build an entire house with $5 to your name? We ain't talking about Survivor. We ain't talking about none of that. We talking about right now, new houses, $5. This is a process. Tyler Algier getting recognition on the all rookie team is well deserved. He was a blessing to this team, especially at the time. Like I said before, at the time when they needed somebody to step in, he was that guy. You lost Cordero for 4 games. You pretty much you had Damian Williams in here. You lost him after game 1. Well, really, he didn't even play the full game. I think he only played like a quarter.
2 snaps.
Damn, 2 snaps.
If that.
Or was it gone?
And then like I said, then Arthur Smith taking the chance to roll with Caleb Huntley. And Caleb Huntley's game elevated Tyler Allgeier's game. And this is why they ran the damn ball. Once it started working, they said, no, we gonna keep it going. We know it's not gonna be the prettiest offense, but it benefits our defense in the second halves, in which the defense has given up less points in the second half than any other team in the NFL right this year. Drake London went through a 7-game stretch where he got less than 40 yards receiving and was 120 yards away from a 1,000-yard season. Let's put that in perspective. We saw Caleb McGarry go from we need to get him traded out of here to now we need to re-sign him.
Bring it back, bring it back, bring it back, bring it back.
I like how Blackberry put it. He said, not pretty, but it's damn sexy. Yeah, yes. For football enthusiasts, yes. Pass the rock to whoever wanted next.
I just want to piggyback on what y'all was saying. Like, it goes back to coaching, and that's what we kind of been lacking. When we lost Dan Quinn, it was kind of like we never would see adjustments. And that's something that I can commend this coaching staff for, is we seen them make changes when things were not working. Even though I didn't want the coach to go away from Mariota, it was the right decision at the time that he did it. And we seen it pay dividends in the last 2 games of the season. But all of the guys that you named, K-Styles, like Caleb Huntley, Tyler Algier, Drake London, like we've seen these guys develop. I mean, you've seen players like Cordero Hodge actually making plays throughout the season. We've seen Olamide Zaccheaus. We've seen Demir Bird. Like, one thing that I can say about this coaching staff and this regime, compared to our last coaching staff with Dan Quinn, how many times did I say we got rookies and we don't know what they could do? We had John Kaminsky for years. We didn't know what he was. We had Deidre Sanat for years, never dressing out. Where you see with this team, they actually are developing players. Like, when we talk about player development, and that's why I said to me this year was about development, it's not too many players on this team that I'm like, I don't know what they can do. We may have played every single player other than the practice squad guys, and even we pulled some guys up off the practice squad. So I really think this team, they did a good job. The coaching staff did a great job of using what they had. Even though we talk about what we didn't have, how everybody always want to talk about, well, we don't have money, we don't have this. They did a good job of pulling the resources that we did have and taking advantage of the players that we did have. We didn't really see any signings because we didn't have any money to sign anybody. But to me, they did a great job of maneuvering, playing different players. Like, we seen the Jalen Daltons brought back to the team after TQ went down. You seen them like rotating guys in, and we actually got to see what our rookies can do. Like, for the most part, we know pretty much what every player on this roster can do, which is key to building a contending team, because I talked about depth. That's really what it's about. Now that we have the money, well, okay, you go out and sign a big name free agent. Well, you know what you got behind him if he gets hurt. How many times we keep saying, like, if you go and sign, whoever we sign in free agency, well, we know in the NFL, there's 100% injuries. You're going to get nicked up at some point in the season. You got to have somebody that can spell you for a couple games. And good news is a lot of these guys were starting this year, and we know what they can do. So even if we go out and sign a big name player, eventually you're going to need those glue guys like y'all were talking about the other night, that once somebody goes down, turns an ankle, whatever happens, a concussion, and they, out for a couple weeks, you know what you got in the guys behind them, because they've played substantial playing time. Most of the time, most NFL teams, you have your starters, and then it's everybody else. You don't really see those guys get substantial playing time. we were one of the only teams in the NFL that played a lot of our rookies, and they were productive. Like you talked about, I mean, Tyler Algier led us in. He was a rookie, led us in rushing. Drake London led us in receiving. He's a rookie. And to be honest, I really feel like if Desmond Ridder would have got put in there a little bit earlier, he probably would have led our team in passing yards, because we seen between him and Mariota, he was the better pocket passer. He was the better passer, complete quarterback when he finally got in the game. So I really feel like you said we have a bright future just looking at this team based upon these guys actually getting that playing time and these guys actually coming in and doing something. It wasn't like these guys were just out there playing. These guys were at the forefront. They were your playmakers. Drake London, Tyler Algier, Desmond Ridder, when he finally got out there, those were the guys that were leading our offense. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like CP and some of those guys, they actually kind of took a step back, and those guys stepped to the forefront and actually went out there and made plays. I talked about Tyler Algier. When CP came back, it's like he never missed a beat. Like he kind of just took that number one running back role and ran with it and never gave it back. So, and that's what, we've heard our coaching staff, like I said before with Dean Pease, they talk about when you draft guys, we drafted you for a reason. If you were one of the best collegiate players on your team, you were a leader on your college team, we don't want you to come to our team and take a step back. We want you to take the bull by the horns, take the baton and run with it. And I think we've seen that with these young guys. So I really feel like that was the benefit. Even though I was down, we didn't make the playoffs, even though we had no business even being in contention, for the playoffs, I wasn't disappointed in the team because I seen the growth in the players from game one to the end of the season. I seen how, like you said, the defense improved. But I think the biggest thing to look at was this with this coaching staff is they understand that you got to make adjustments throughout the season. You can't keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. And I think that that's something that this coaching staff understands. Like they actually, during that bye week when they talked about self-reflecting and self-scouting, I think that that's something that they actually really did, because you've seen them bench players. You've seen them start to throw different guys in the rotation, and we've seen what those guys can do. So I think that's a great thing to know. Pretty much all of the guys we drafted played, other than Schaefer, Fitzpatrick, I think the tight end, and Jared Bernhardt. Those were like the only three guys I think out of the draft class that didn't get substantial snaps, which is a good thing. As far as pretty much everybody else played. So,
what you got on that, Mike?
I was reading the comments. I don't know what the hell you using. I heard that.
All right, let's go ahead and recap what you.
No, I heard you. I just don't know what the hell the topic was. That's all.
No, pretty much what he was saying. Pretty much what he was saying as far as seeing the rookies getting substantial playing time. That's pretty much what the topic is.
And the coaches, making adjustments, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is this is essentially what this system is about. Like this is why they've already tipped their hand when it came down to how they're going to build this team. I was talking to Chauncey about this, OG Chauncey, aka Big Scooby, about this today. And the Falcons have already showed us what they're going to do out there. They're not going to go out and spend money on big time players unless it's a desperate need. They're not going to go out of their way. They're going to draft their superstars. So if you see a guy in free agency like Deron Payne, chances are it's not going to happen. If they didn't go out, trade up in drafts to make those, because they had the prime opportunity last year with Jordan Davis to do that, to climb back into the first. And then you got a couple of guys that was at the end of the draft. They could have traded back up into the first round and got it. But they traded up in the second round to get Ebiketie. So the Falcons already tipped when it comes down to it. This scheme is built on depth, running the ball. It's like if he wanted a running back that was special, they had opportunity because the Giants were really shopping Saquon Barkley. They were shopping them, and they still shopping them to this day. They're still shopping. Like he still is available. They're not paying him $16 million a year. They're not paying him $16 million. You say you either take this 12 or nothing at all. So I say all that to say this. The Falcons and specifically the man who's really behind the scenes and nobody even paying attention to, Rich McKay knows exactly what he's doing. Rich McKay, with that, they brought in another guy to handle business operation. I forget who the guy was, but he's handling the business operation, the day-to-day business operation that Rich were doing. So Rich McKay can now have more control over the football part. So I say all that to say this: do not get comfortable trying to go out and get these superstar receivers in the draft, these superstar quarterbacks, because they had a prime opportunity to trade up or draft Malik Willis in the first round, in the second round. They passed on them. They had an opportunity to get Trey Lance. They passed on him. They had an opportunity to get Justin Fields. They passed on him. Every quarterback in the last 2 years that Falcons had an opportunity to get, they passed on. So what makes you guys think they're going to go out of their way when they clearly, even this year, and also just listen to the press conference. They tell me exactly what they're doing. We're not going to go. We're going to be smart about how we spend their money. This is literally coming out of their mouths. They said last year that we want pressure guys. We want pressure guys. And they end up getting the guy in college football who had the most pressure. When they come down to the averages, Arnold Ebiketie, how is the name? But Arnold Ebiketie, he was the number one guy. He is a high pressure guy, and we saw that. So the Falcons tell you exactly what you're doing, what they're going to do, but you just gotta listen. Listen to them. Stop making up your own little drafts because they don't give a damn about you going and tweeting at them and saying draft this guy. They don't care. They're going to fulfill their own dream, not dream, but they're going to team and they're going to focus on their scheme, and that's it. They didn't have a clear vision of what they want. We just have to accept it as fans, to be honest.
Yeah, MVP quarterbacks are built.
These guys took these. And these guys took these on a 52 what was it, $52 million for Matt Ryan? They took on a $52 million dead cap hit for Matt Ryan. And you think these guys care about what anybody thinks? Who does that? No team has ever done that, but the Falcons do.
Like my key word here, I'm gonna say is, I seen somebody say something about MVP quarterbacks. We have to remember MVP quarterbacks are built. They're not automatically guaranteed. That, my friend, is a fact. Go ahead, y'all. What else we got, man? What else we got for him? If I got the equalizer here, which I got for him. Oh, I know what my question is. So, how did y'all feel? What would be your grade as far as now that the season is over of this draft class as far as these players in a whole totality?
I got to give it an A. I got to give it an A just because what I stated, previously, like the guys that led you on offense were your rookies. Like I think Tyler Algier was a 5th-round pick. Like for him to break the Falcons rookie record, rushing record, get over 1,000 yards in a season, which he didn't even start, the season off. I think he didn't dress for like the first 2 or 3 games. So, I mean, that's why I'm so comfortable, to be honest with you guys, with whatever they decide to do this offseason, because they've shown us pretty much the last 2 years that they understand how to go about drafting guys. The guys that they brought in has contributed. So, that's all you can ask for, is bringing in guys, playing the guys so we can see what they actually can do, but knowing how to use the guys and deploy your weapons. And Arthur Smith and Dean Pease, they pretty much did that. I mean, Richie Grant, like both draft classes, you've seen pretty much they dominated, as far as the starters, they dominated. Drake London, Tyler Algier, all of these guys, when they drafted Drake London, they knew we needed a number 1 receiver, and he pretty much came in and was that from day one. Let's be real. Like he had, the most receiving yards, the most catches. Even when you talk about him not being targeted for a large portion of the season, he still led us in receiving yards. That just goes to show like how good of a player that he is and how close he got to 1,000 yards receiving. Just imagine, I feel like if Desmond Ridder plays the whole season, he easily eclipsed 1,000 yards, because we've seen the connection that him and Desmond Ridder had. As soon as Desmond Ridder hit the field, Drake London was getting targeted probably 10 times a game, easy. So I think you got to give it an A, just for the mere fact that, like I said, those guys that you drafted, Ebiketie, D'Angelo Malone, pretty much all of those guys contributed. I think Ebiketie had like 2.5 sacks on the season, and he wasn't even a starter. They were rotating him into the defensive line. So I feel like each one of these players, you got to give it an A, because the guys contributed, and that's all you can ask for. Most times as a rookie, guys don't contribute, or they definitely are not the starters. And a lot of these guys that we had were actually your starters. Like I said, you even seen later on your 3rd-round pick in Desmond Ridder come in and play well and improve every single week. Like we seen his metrics, like every single game, his QBR, his passing yards went up every single game. So pretty much all of the rookies for the most part are trending in the right direction. So I got to give it an A, because of just for that reason, and that reason alone was, what do we look at? Production. You got the production from Algier. You got the production from Desmond Ridder. You got the production from, Drake London. And then on the defensive side of the ball, you got that production from the Troy Andersons. I mean, how many big plays did Troy Anderson make this season? Block punt against the Rams. End up eventually being a starter, taking Michael Walker's spot. But I mean, he pretty much did it all this season. And he was another guy that was kind of grooming, but he did his thing on special teams. Both him and D'Angelo Malone did their thing on special teams. So, I mean, like I said, you got to give it an A. You got to give it an A, because pretty much the whole draft class played, and they played substantial snaps. So just for that mere fact, I definitely got to give it an A. And you won't get blown out. Like we said, all of those games we talked about, the reason we were in any of those games was because of those rookies. Those rookies actually kept us afloat and kept us in a lot of those games when we had no business being in a lot of these games.
Yeah, you made up a good point too. Like you said, out of this past draft class, the 6 guys that played, pretty much everybody played at least 15, outside of Desmond Ridder, played 15 or more games. Then, like I said, you look at last year's draft class too. You ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 potential starters. So if you got 5 out of this year and 6 last year, they moving in the right direction. And it's telling you that we trust in our processes, we trust in our coaching, and we believe in these guys. And short story sweet, I give it a B+. I give it a B plus. We still haven't seen all the guys yet, and that's the funny thing about it. We still haven't seen all of them. I give him a B plus. What you got on that, Mike?
I say A plus because you said you had 2 rookies in one class breaking franchise records. Like we gotta stop trying to we gotta get his credit. We got to give Arthur his credit. Again, I keep saying this over and over and over again. This is an NFL record in dead cap money. No other coach has ever dealt with this type of issue. Nobody. Yes, this guy still has 2 guys on his team that set NFL rookie records for this franchise. I don't know. Look, I keep saying this over and over again. I don't think people understand this. When the Falcons start to get the players in the draft, and they start to get more depth, where we see right now with the organization and the 49ers, the only thing that separates the 49ers for the Falcons is depth. They're literally built the exact same way. They run the ball, they focus on running the ball, and they rely on the trenches. And we beat them at their own game with the lack of depth. I don't know any coach that have ever dealt with this type of stuff. And this is the reason why we talk about this. Like, it's literally built like this team is literally built like the 98 Falcons. The only difference is the 98 Falcons had a lot of veterans and we got a lot of young guys. But it's literally built the exact same way. Balance on both sides. Good. We got elite defender and Chuck Smith. We got an elite defender and Grady. We got an elite tackle and a guard. This team is literally built like the Atlanta Falcons in '98. Experienced coach who relies on, and I say experienced head coach with Arthur Smith because he's had what a lot of young guys hasn't had in his career, and that's he's been taught by the best of the best. Since he stepped foot in as a coach, he's been taught by the best. And he still learned from the best on both sides of the ball. Not many guys that can say that they learn from guys from Bill Belichick's tree, guys from Rex Ryan's tree, Gibbs. It's like I don't know many coaches that can literally say that Arthur has had with Arthur. Mike Vrabel, like these guys are very good coaches, and he's learning these guys. And he's like even Kyle Shanahan. He learned from a Kyle Shanahan tree with the Green Bay. No, Green Bay.
Oh, Mike Holmgren.
No,
Mike Holmgren.
Coach.
How about LaFleur?
The coach.
Oh, Mike LaFleur.
But he's learned from these guys. He's learned from the best of the best. So this is one of the reasons why I continue to say, like, we really have to slow down, get out our own personal feelings for what the Falcons offense is, because it's boring as hell. It's like watching a game. It's like watching a Paul Johnson offense at Georgia Tech. All we do is run the dang ball most of the dang game.
He damn sure ain't lying about that.
You know it.
Yeah.
It's running the ball at damn near every play. And we pass it every once in a while. To switch it up. Just saying, man. Like I just think Arthur deserves much more credit. Him and Terry Fontenot has done a wonderful job bringing in guys like Abdullah Anderson. Who the hell even knew who he was prior to coming here? You got a linebacker from Montana. Who the hell is in Montana?
Apparently cyborgs, I guess. I don't know. Here's a comment right here. Appreciate the comment. Pretty much said Troy Anderson's PFF grade was a 40.2. I really don't think PFF is amazing, but that's really bad. I'll be honest with you. PFF grades are irrelevant. I'm gonna tell you why. Y'all remember Foye time in Atlanta last year, right? Led the lead tackles. Was quote unquote the best linebacker the Falcons had last year. Had a PFF grade of 45.
45.
So it what did Mucho say? Slow it down. I just dissed you.
Yeah. Like I said, I really feel like with the PFF grades, you just gotta watch the game and see what players are out there making plays. Like I said, he had his fingerprints, on every game for the most part. But when he was out there, whether it was special teams, whenever he touched the field, that's why we wanted him out there on the field, because it seemed like every time he was out there on the field, he was making plays. So I don't care about the PFF grades. If we really,
I don't use them at all.
Right. If we be honest about it,
I don't use them at all.
Yeah, that block punt in that Rams game shifted the momentum of that game. So, that's what I look at. I look at the plays. While we talk about those 3 to 4 plays in a game that'll change a game and win your game or lose your game, those are the type of things that you got to look at, is those big plays that are made during the game that shift the momentum. So that's pretty much what I look at. So Troy Anderson was one of the better rookies in this, especially a part of our draft class. Could have easily been the starter from day one, to be honest. But, when he got out there on the field, he made plays, and that's what matters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
We use PFF just as cosmetics, all right? Nobody takes PFF.
Nobody takes that serious.
Even when we mention them, especially myself, I said take it how you want to take it when I use a PFL. So you can use it if you wanted to validate it, but like it's really just for cosmetic reasons why we use it over here. At least I can say for myself.
Wow, the only reason it get sometimes, like I say, it don't get used a lot, but the only reason sometimes it get used over here is because it gets sent to us.
That's it.
So is that really us using it to validate our points, or is it to prove a damn point that, okay, this thing is half-assed? We'd already done debunked that shit. The motherfucker gave Marlon Davidson 100 grade for a pick 6, and he played 3 snaps.
Pick 6, 3 snaps.
He played 3 snaps in the game and got 100 because he got a pick 6 on Tom Brady. He 85. Appreciate you. He said PFF be grading on a curve. Yep, it damn sure do. We've already had to debunk it. Appreciate it, Lee 85. We already had to debunk what the criteria is when it comes to PFF. And if I remember correctly, what they said was they got 60 people out of 600 employees that determine what these grades are.
It's all a part of analytics.
They don't even know what it is.
I'm not a fan of that. We just seen these coaches making dumb decisions off analytics instead of actually following the momentum of the game. They're looking at numbers and basing off if they should go for it on fourth down, if they should go for it in the red zone instead of
Dan Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
So, and for me, it's nothing wrong with using analytics, but I'm not finna negate the eye test for analytics.
There you go.
Like I said, you can use it as a resource. It's nothing. I ain't saying there's nothing wrong with a resource, but that's not going to be the end all be all on how I base all my opinions on type of thing. That's what gets people messed up out here when it comes to talking sports. We get so complacent about using the analytics, having somebody else do it for us. We tend to get away from what is naturally what we use to analyze a game, and that's these right here. See? I see you. I see the game. That's how we're supposed to do. But yeah, let me see. Abdullah Anderson, Timmy Horn, Dalton, D. And then we not even talking about D. Alford. How he pulled D. Alford out the CFL. That, like you said, that's the thing. So right there.
And he had a game-winning one game-winning pick, or he had two game-winning picks. I know he had one against Seattle. So, like I said, these guys were making plays. You can say D. Alford was a rookie last year, first year in the NFL, game-sealing interception. So, like that's why I say these guys, these rookies, were actually out there making plays and changing the game. So,
right. But hey, man, it's at the end of the day, man. We like I said, we just seeing a Falcon team with a bunch of young guys that don't play scared or ain't afraid of the moment should be the main thing we are talking about here. See, this is kind of one of the reasons why we try to refrain from the quote unquote quarterback conversation that's taking over Atlanta right now and stuff like that, because we're losing as a fan base. We're losing focus on what the team is trying to do. We losing focus. Like I said, we got a draft coming up. Like I said, we've been hearing about defensive prospects, and we doing prospect videos about defensive prospects that should be a Falcon. Now they have took that conversation and used the Lamar Jackson, Trey Lance conversation to grab everybody's attention, because everybody's attention more now is like, okay, we need to get Jalen Carter. We need to see what Miles Murphy in a Falcon uniform, Tyree Wilson, whoever. And that's the part, and like I said, that's the part that's really annoying as far as dealing with this stuff. We losing focus.
I actually, one thing, I've been listening to a lot of things. A lot of coaches. I've been really going back and listening to philosophies and how certain coaches they look for talent. And I ran across something that like has stuck with me ever since. And it's Urban Meyer. He stated one time in that he was on Fox, and he stated it's like they was asking what he sees quarterbacks and how he ended up essentially recruiting. And one of the things that he stated was he wants a player, and specifically a quarterback, that has played multiple sports. Reason being is, for one, is that competitive nature. That's something as a player you cannot You cannot replicate that. You can't teach that. You either have it or you don't. And those are the things. It's essentially that passion and that fire. Like if you see a player that doesn't have a big arm, and this is one of the reasons why you got the guy for the Raiders, the quarterback. Good gosh.
Talking about Derek Carr?
Derek Carr.
Not Derek Carr. The big black dude who didn't study.
Oh, Jamarcus Russell.
Why?
I just realized what I said. Damn. Racist.
You said like, that caught me off guard.
I'm sorry. That's out of what I said. But
like wait a minute. That's the obvious right there. Like,
yeah, but Urban Meyer was like one of the things that, you saw with Ryan Leaf. Ryan Leaf was way more talented than Peyton Manning when it came down to his two. Yeah, man. And damn, that was a racist ass statement. Jesus Christ. I hate that I said
that.
I'm
was
sorry,
bullshit,
man.
Mike. You know that, right?
I said this black dude that gets studied. God, that sounds so wrong.
Like, wait a minute. Nah, we just kidding, y'all. It was hilarious. It was just hilarious. He came out of nowhere. But go ahead, Mike.
It's good. I didn't mean that. I really didn't mean that. See, this is why I gotta shut up sometimes. But the reason why I say like you gotta look at players for fire is because we see guys like, Grady Jarrett. Like Grady Jarrett was drafted in the 5th round, but he had that fire. You see guys like Asante Samuel. It's like, yeah, he got good skills, but you see he got that same fire that his dad has. Mm-hmm. And those are the things that Urban Meyer says that he looked for in players. And that's why when you look at Urban Meyer throughout the entire his collegiate career, he's always had pretty good players. But like I said, man, I think those are the things that you see with these Falcons teams now. And it's that fire, man. And that's something you look at Desmond Ridder. It's like, no, he's not the fastest quarterback. He's not the shiftiest quarterback. But you can tell he got that fire. He has that fire in him. And like I said, that's the biggest difference in how you build team. Most GMs look for guys with those combine numbers and he run a 4.2 and all that stuff, but they forget about the passion and the love for the game.
And that's how, that's what you want. And like I agree, that's how you want to build your team. You want to have a bunch of guys like that. I bet I'm sitting here looking at cap numbers and stuff.
I can't believe I said that. Damn, but that's so.
You were trying to explain it. We said Derek Carr. You had to let us know which guy you talking.
Hey, look, you had to go somewhere with it. Like,
yeah, man.
Oh man.
Like, y'all don't know who I'm talking. Okay, fuck it. Hey, I know how we're gonna get you to know about it. I'm sitting here looking at cap numbers for 2023 and see like how many contracted players we got. So yeah, pretty much damn they got a full roster with 53. 50. Nah, it says right now it's at 56 right now. So it's not 80. It's not 70 like everybody says. It's 56. Like I said, that's barring some cuts. I'm just trying to see what dead money and what players can possibly be cut around here that could save. And I see some fan favorites, and I might say just don't be surprised. I see some fan favorites in here.
Some fan favorites.
Some fan favorites.
I got a question for y'all.
Yo. What's up?
I know a lot of people are expecting the Falcons to go out and get guys like Deron Payne, like really make a push for these guys. Like the way that this roster and the draft is constructed, where do you see how the Atlanta Falcons should attack free agency to set up the draft? Because we have a lot of free agents. We have a lot of important free agents too.
That's tough. That's a tough question, Mike. What I'll say is this. I just need me a dog on the defensive line, period. And I need a guy that's hungry. I don't need somebody that's just looking to get paid and be the highest paid player. And I'm glad you just said what you just said when you were talking about Desmond Ridder. I really think that they're going to go out and look for somebody that's hungry. That's what I need. I want somebody that want to win. And that's why I had throughout the name Jeffrey Simmons from the Titans. But I kind of I didn't realize when I was bringing up Jeffrey Simmons that he's under a 5th-year option. When I was saying I was going to do a video about him, that's why I didn't put the video out there. I didn't realize that he was on a 5th-year option. But one thing that I noticed when I watched their season get ended, I don't remember who they were playing. I think they played Jacksonville, if I'm not mistaken, but they had a chance to win their division. But I seen him in the locker room crying and talking about his passion for the game. And that's what made me kind of want the Falcons to go after a player like that, because I seen his desire, his will to want to win, talking about having to get shots before, shooting his ankle up just so he can go out there and play because he wanted to win. And I think that that's something that I think the Falcons are definitely going to look at, because you hear them always talk about the ethos. That's something that Terry Fontenot always, states, is they're looking for players that fit a certain type of mold, tough, smart type players. So whoever they go out and bring in, don't just go out and bring in a big name guy. Bring in somebody that wants to win. And usually that's a player that's coming from an organization that hasn't won, because we know that Grady Jarrett's pissed off. Grady wants to win, but I need us to bring in a dog, somebody that on that defensive line, a game changer that really wants to win. Not so much that he's just a big name, because we tried to go get Dante Fowler. We tried to go out and get, big name running backs and big name players that's been good for their teams, but they kind of were washed up when we got them. So I'm looking for another Johnny Abraham. If y'all want to know who I'm looking for, I need another Johnny Abraham on this Falcons team. But we brought Johnny Abraham from the Jets to Atlanta. He was that dude. I don't care who lined up on the other side of him, Corey Bierman, whoever you had on the other side, you knew Johnny Abraham was going to get to the quarterback. So you guys know I need me a dog that's going to go hunt the quarterback. That's what I need on this team. I don't care what you got to do to go get him, but bring me somebody that can hunt the quarterback, period. I don't care who it is. I don't care about the name. I just need a guy that can get to the quarterback in those pivotal moments when you need a sack. I need a guy that's going to get you double-digit sacks in the season. Lyric's mom put on Twitter, and I retweeted it. She talked about how Joey Bosa for the 49ers had like 19 and a half sacks, and we had 21 sacks on the season. That's unacceptable. Like, we have to go out and bring in a guy. We keep talking about Lamar Jackson. Bumper Lamar Jackson. Go out and get one of these big names. I don't even care if the guy's under contract. Go trade. Take that 8th pick, and this is something that I've been thinking about. Take that 8th pick and go out and get a guy that can rush the passer. I don't care who it is. Like, the guy that I've been looking at, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but literally I've been thinking about, if the Raiders are willing to swap because they got rid of Khalil Mack, go get Max Crosby from the Raiders. They're getting rid of Derek Carr, and they look like they're trying to clean house. Go pick up the phone, call the Raiders and say, how much you want for Max Crosby? He's already under contract. He's 25 years old. He's a dog. He can hunt the quarterback. Go look at his numbers. Go look at his tape. Call him up and ask him, how much would y'all swap for our 8th pick and y'all give us Max Crosby? Like, I've really been looking at players that we possibly can get, but everybody's focused on a Lamar Jackson. Why not go out and get a big name pass rusher, but a guy that actually can rush the passer and that's hungry? Because if you watch Max Crosby, that's a guy that gives you 110% on every single play. He's a dog. He gets after it. I know he's a guy. We brought him here. He's gonna make plays, and he's a guy that got the stamp of approval. Chuck Smith. Chuck Smith, he raves about Max Crosby all the time. He's one of the ends, outside linebackers to watch. Whereas number 98 for the Raiders, a beast. You turn on his tape, that dude's a dog. Go out and see if you can bring in a guy like that. I don't care. But go out. We always want to, spend that money on an offensive type player. Why not do that for your defense? Go out and get one of those guys. It might cost you, but I would try to swap a pick, because with that 8th pick, say you come away with a Tyree Wilson, or you come away with the Miles Murphy. Are those guys going to be able to come in year one? Like, is it even fair to them to expect them to come in year one and get you double-digit sacks or be that guy? I don't know if they can do it. I'm not saying he can't do it, but I don't know if they can do it. And I feel like sometimes you're better off going in with a guy that's already established in the league and is already a dog. Johnny Abraham, everybody knew what he can do when he came over from the Jets. So that's I don't know what you guys think about that, but I want to hear what you guys think about that.
I never even thought about that. To be honest with you, Max Crosby is the Energizer Bunny. That boy don't stop. Reminds me of
you're gonna take a risk. Like
you said, that is a possibility that they can do that. Like you said, he's 25 too, so he's really entering his prime at that moment.
I mean, again, I don't know why. I don't know why people don't realize that Rich McKay is running this show. Rich McKay is still the president of football operations. Terry Fontenot was just doing what he told. Okay? Terry Fontenot just doing what he told. So Rich McKay has already shown that he's willing to get out, especially for a great defensive end that can get after the quarterback. That's what he did. He went out and traded his picks to go get Johnny Abraham, gave him his money, and the rest is history. So that's not out of the question that the Falcons. And like, to be honest, I'll be real. I don't want that 8th pick. I do not want
to be truthful to you. Like I said, I would rather trade that 8th pick back. I would rather trade back. Be honest with you, get some more value, out of it. Because even if you're talking about the guys like the Miles Murphys and the Tyree Wilsons and stuff like that, you still have a lot of value in the mid round as far as pass rushers and defensive linemen. You still got value there. But if you're talking about as far as trading that pick to get somebody established that's on top of their game, I could see that.
That's what I would do if I was the GM. I've been thinking about that for a while. Like, why don't we just do that?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you. I'm so sorry. This really.
Can I hit it first? Can I hit it first? You don't mind if I hit it
first? Please go. Yeah. All right, Ray J, hit it first.
If you pay attention to how the Falcons play their defense, they do not, like I said, they're not switching away from the 3-4, but they don't play a traditional 3-4. It's a hybrid version of it. Grady J, despite what the negative connotations despite what the popular narrative is they still got the 4-3 principles. Grady Jarrett's still 3-tech. It's not a traditional 3-4. It never was.
Never was. We have 4 linebackers at the time, a lot of times, and most of the time, the reason why we want versatile players is because at times you see Lorenzo Carter, he'll bounce out to the side and end up getting picks and tip balls and stuff like that. So their defensive ends have to be like another thing too. On top of that, their defensive end have to have skills to be able to cover and move their hips. That's why you got guys like D'Angelo Malone. He got the side frame to be able to move, and then you got guys like Troy Anderson. If you haven't seen how they use Troy Anderson, they use him like a 3-4 edge. He lines up in the middle, but a lot of times he ends up on the outside because they do a lot of stunting. Grady Jarrett to peel in, and then you'll see Troy looping on the outside, and that's how he ended up. Go back and look at the game against the last game against the Bucks. You'll see exactly what you're talking about. Troy was stunting and he was going all over the place. That's how they're using their linebackers. So their linebackers have to have they have to be. I'm trying to compare him to somebody. I want to say Brooks Reed, but maybe like the other linebacker in the Texans. I forget his name.
I say just think about it like
how
this.
They use them.
I just think about it like this. Do anybody remember the wide 9 defense Philadelphia Eagles used to play? This is essentially the same damn defense, but we don't have big bookends. It's a 3-4 look. That's just from my eyes. Everybody don't have to agree on that, but that's what I see.
Brian Cushing, that's his name.
Brian Cushing.
I was saying, I'm thinking Brett Cole.
He had the right last name
Cushing.
too, boy, because his name should have been. His name was damn near close to saying Brian Concussion. That's what his name was.
But they use, like I said, they use a linebacker to be able to go everywhere.
Right. Look, I will say this with William. I will say this. If the guy that you want is not there, if it's like you say, if it's a mild, if the Falcons are looking at, because we already know Will Anderson, well, we don't know. Like I said, we don't know how this draft is going to pan out. Like I said, if you have a top 5, if the Falcons have a top 5 board and they're looking for these particular 5 players, if they're not there at 8, then you trade back. I'm gonna give you that one. Then you trade back because you don't want to be in a situation where, okay, I really want these guys, but I'm going to settle for this guy at this spot just because it's at 8. If that guy ain't at 8, trade that pick back. You ain't got to trade all the way out the first round. 13 to 15 range would be perfect. So not only will you get value for your pick, you still going to get a great player out of that, but you still going to get more value. So if you trade back, I look more so in between the 12-15 range because you still be in the range enough to where you still get one of those top 10 players. Because the way that they talking about Anthony Richardson, one of those defensive players going to be available past 11. I'm telling you that now.
I say I don't care. Because when you go in there with a preconceived idea, that's when you miss out on the best deals. Because you're going in saying, well, I'm staying at such spot. So it's like you got to read the draft. You can't go in there with, well, I want 2 picks. Read the draft and then you make, and like that's the same thing for a free agency. We might go in there and say, I want Deron Payne regardless, and then for whatever reason the draft might unfold where Jalen Carter end up dropping, and then they either trade a guy that wasn't previously even on the market. We see that in the NFL all the time, where you go think this guy was going to be available, then he wasn't available. Then the draft came, and that thing, he's wide open. Nobody would have saw that Ndamukong Suh would have been out of the league last year. So it's like it's a lot of stuff that unfolds, man. That you don't go in with a certain mentality, man. It's like you don't go in there with a certain idea and saying this is what I'm gonna get this player regardless, because you might get that player at that spot, and then there was a run on DBs, and then you need a DB, and all the DBs are gone, but you done got rid of all your picks.
Right.
You trade up to get a certain guy. Read the draft, man.
Right. And then, like you said, even when we use this draft, for example, it's not even a guarantee that the teams that need quarterbacks are going to take quarterbacks. It's not. We've seen stuff like that happen too. So,
exactly.
Yeah, we've seen it the last couple of years, and you've seen teams that don't need quarterbacks take quarterbacks. There's a balance there. You, like Mike just said, Mike just put it perfectly in one sentence. You gotta read the draft. Because what happens, and this is an interesting scenario. What if the Houston Texans don't take a quarterback and they take the best defensive player at that position? What if Seattle doesn't take a quarterback and take the best defensive player in that position? Now you potentially may have a top 5 draft where every guy that you was looking for is gone. This is why when you see a lot of what we do over here with our draft prospects, like for me, for example, and I always tell everybody this: if I do draft prospects, I don't do first round picks. Because you know why I don't do first round picks? Because 9 times out of 10, the first round pick that you want is not going to be there. So you got to have a alternate. You got to have a board of different players and be like, okay, he might be available right there. Okay, cool. And I saw somebody said something earlier about why people still talking about the Lamar Jackson thing. It's because they know motherfuckers gonna watch. It's called media manipulation. I ain't gonna say media manipulation in a way, because since it's the trending story, and the problem is a lot of people in Atlanta want that quarterback or want Lamar Jackson here. It's the easiest thing to talk about. So that's all that is. But getting back to this draft. So, like I said, the guy you may want may not be there. So what's going to be your next option? What you got, Drew?
I agree where y'all coming from. Y'all know where my head is. I just want us to, work on this defense, period. Don't come out of here with no wide receiver. Don't bring me nobody. I don't want no offensive pick. That's where I'm at, bro. I don't want no offensive pick, dog. I'm being real. If I don't care if it's offensive. I don't want no offensive pick. If y'all, like how y'all was saying, if all of those dogs is gone, Will Anderson, Miles Murphy, then you trade back. Don't take no offensive player and say he was the best player available. I don't want another offensive pick in the first round this year. None. We don't need it. We don't need it. Build this defense. That's my biggest issue. Bring me somebody that can affect in the front 7. We need somebody in the front 7. If they take somebody draft a player defensive wise in the front 7, I'm good with that. But don't bring no offensive players. I don't care who's on the board. I don't want to see the offensive player drafted. That's where my head is.
AKA Offensive lineman is off the table too, motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's off the lines. That's off. Yeah, man. We don't need it. Like I keep telling people, like, how many first round offensive linemen you gonna take? Lindstrom was a first rounder, but Gary was a first round. You don't need 5 first round offensive linemen. Let's be real. Like, look at our defensive line. How many guys on our defensive line are first round picks? Like, we really need to fix these trenches, period, on the defense. Because we've seen our offensive line was okay. Like, even as we keep harping on, I think the left guard position, we were fine. Our offensive line was fine this year. Our offensive line was fine. So at this point, even if you got to go out and just sign a veteran or re-sign, like, I'm good with the offensive line. I'm good with the weapons that we have. You can find, like I just mentioned, we got Tyler Algier in the 5th round. You can find running backs. You can find wide receivers at any point in the draft. To me, what we're struggling is we don't never value the trenches. You heard Mike say we were right there, could have took Jordan Davis. You guys know I love me some Drake London to pieces. But at the end of the day, Drake London, he was the right pick pick there. But you got Kyle Pitts, you got Drake London. You straight on the offensive side of the ball. We're a run-first team. So you straight. You got to fix the defense, the front 7. You got to fix it. You got to fix it. So if your guy ain't there, trade back and just build up. But what I would do, if I was a GM, I would try to go get a defensive end. I would trade the 8th pick, go get me a defensive end or a guy that can pressure up the middle. But really, I really feel like you can do either or. You either can draft a defensive end and trade for somebody's, or get one of these free agent guys that can bring pressure from the middle, like a true nose, or you can do it in reverse and you can take a trade for a pressure guy up the middle, and then so vice versa. But I'm doubling up. So free agency, I would be either taking a nose tackle or edge, and then in the draft, I would do whichever one I didn't get. So if we get like a Max Crosby, then I'm going nose, or somebody can bring pressure from the inside in the first round of the draft. That's what I would do with my first pick. But whether or not, whichever way you want to do it, I would do it. That's what I would do. I would go defensive line, double up, unless it's somebody there that they really feel like, okay, you can't pass them up like in the secondary, like a Joey Porter Jr. Like if they want to go there, I wouldn't even trip if they went corner, even though I don't feel like you necessarily need to do it. But I feel like if you can get another playmaker, as long as it's on defense, I'm okay with it. But front 7 is what I'm looking at mainly. I'm looking at the defensive line. If you can get somebody out this defensive line, I really feel like that's what you should do. And I feel like we should double up. Free agency should be looking at the defensive line. Draft priority should be defensive line, period. No ways around it.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of and I know the talent gap between Jalen Carter and the rest of the defensive tackles is a wide gap. But as far as what the Falcons need, you actually have a lot of capable guys to fill that need. So I see where you coming from with that. Because like you said, with the Max Crosby thing, if that's a possibility, and if you have to part with that 8th pick for that, yeah, you still got comparable guys that you can draft in that spot. That boy Juice said, boy, if y'all come up here with an offensive lineman, if you come up here with a running back, a wide receiver, or another quarterback, he's gonna rebuke thee. That's what he gonna do.
Bruh, I'm gonna be livid, bruh. Because hey, look, I love offense, but at the end of the day, at some point you gotta value the defense. And you can't say, well, we value it, but we gonna wait till the 5th round to take somebody. Like, come on, bro. Right. Like, if you really value it, you gotta put your money where your mouth is, and we gotta put some money on that side of the ball. Like Grady, we paid him. Now it's time to pay some other guys. Like, you gotta bring back Lorenzo Carter. You gotta pay your guys you have. But that's why I was talking about where the depth's gonna come in, because you got Ebiketie. But if say you bring in a Max Crosby, or you take one of these other guys like a Will Anderson or Miles Murphy, if they're there, now you're building on that defensive line where you can run a NASCAR package on 3rd and long or 3rd. You can literally put out Miles Murphy, Grady Jarrett, Epiketie, Lorenzo Carson. You got 4 guys that can legitimately get after the passer consistently. Mm-hmm. That's what I want to see our defensive line. I'm trying to build that New York Giants team that beat the Patriots. That's what I want to see. I want to see 4 guys capable of rushing the passer and not so many guys that only can do one thing, because that's been an issue with our team as well, where you have like a Dula Anderson or a guy that's a specialty at stopping the run, but he can't do multiple things. That's where we kind of been struggling, where I feel like we need to get more versatility on our defensive line, where Max Crosby, he going to play the run and he going to play the pass. You're not going to just have a guy that's just a speed or just an edge rusher. We need to be more versatile on our defensive line, where if it's first down, we're not in first and second down, we don't have to keep taking guys in and out of the game, because sometimes you get caught with, if they run the hurry up, you stuck with guys on the field that can't rush the passer. And that's something that I think that we got to get away from. We got to get to these guys that can actually do both. They can stop the run and they can bring pressure.
So I know we about to go ahead and start winding this down, but I want to add Mike, Jude, and I want to ask a lot of people this question. So as we talk about the trenches here, and we're going to end the show on this, and we're going to end the show right. So as we talk about the trenches and we talk about Jalen Carter, he's being the most obvious guy for the Falcons. If we're talking about nose tackle, what is your backup plan as far as who would you see out of this draft as a nose tackle for the Falcons? I know the obvious ones is going to be Mazi Smith and or Siaki Ika. I want to see if anybody got a damn backup plan.
I've already. I don't give a flying. You know what? I don't give a damn. I don't care if it's an edge. I don't care if it's a defense tackle. I want to see a commitment to it. Everybody because it's not 100% that these guys that we draft are going to be good or even receive legitimate playing time. Like Jordan Davis, even though he was taken that high, he didn't see a significant amount of snaps. So was that the right pick for the Eagles? Just based on his playing time this year? Absolutely not. It was a wasted pick for them because he's not contributing to that team anyway. So it's a wasted pick for them. You basically had a guy sitting around just like for decoration until the next year when all these guys became free agents. So it's a wasted pick for this year. So I don't care. Whoever the guy is, I need depth. I need depth at the defensive tackle position or the edge position. That's why I said if Will Anderson is sitting there, get him, because we have a solid rotation of edge guys. And then the following year, we can start working on the defensive tackles. At some point, you have to start working on one particular position. This year it may be the tackles. Next year we'll start working on the edges. But I thought we already start working on the edges. But like if a Will Anderson is there, take him, because he's the best speed rusher in this draft outside of Nolan Smith, in my opinion. Like Nolan, nobody even paying attention to him. He got injured, but like he could be one of those guys you can get in third or fourth round, and he comes in the NFL, and he pretty much does what
Kayvon Thibodeau.
No, I was talking about JJ. I was about to say JJ Watt, but TJ Watt. Looks like he could end up being that, just a pure speed rusher. Like when you have a plan at pass rusher, like I said, whether it's inside or out, that's going to force the team to adjust. So, for instance, like let's just say, all right, Ed Bicchetti is on, Malone, and you can throw Troy outside because he's about 6'3", 240, 250 himself. You can stick him on the edge and use his athleticism. We've actually seen that this year. Stick him on the edge, and he did a pretty good job, especially against Tom Brady. That's one of the main reasons why they took his ass out of the game, because Troy was hunting his ass. Troy was hunting him. Go back and watch. Troy was hunting that boy. And like I said, I just want to see a plan. I don't care what it is. Defensive tackle, because there's a lot of guys. It's a deep class as far as specialists concerned. And this is the time to do it. So whether it's a defensive end, defensive tackle, we got to commit to it. And that's what Jude was alluding to. Just commit to building that D-line. But if I was forced to say anybody at that D tackle position, it's I gotta say the kid from Tennessee. Just like he, for whatever reason, he just kept jumping out. Like every time I watched Tennessee, he would always 21. I believe his name 20. It was a D tackle, but he just kept. Every time I saw him, he was making plays. He just kept stepping out. Like those are the things. It's almost like Troy Anderson. Like every time Troy was on the field, something was just happening. And the kid from Tennessee, every time I watch him, always making plays, always around the ball. Something always the type that I focus on.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, because the reason why I say this too is going back to that quote unquote Mel Kiper stupid shit. They done threw Clancy's ass up in the top 10. Whatever the hell that dude from Pittsburgh is, they done threw him in the top 10. I'm like, Lord have mercy. This is what we talking about. But I know for me, it's kind of hard. Well, if I'm talking about defensive tackle, I don't want to. I'm gonna say the dude from Michigan State. What's his name? Slade. He looked like a big old country boy. He like a big old country boy from Michigan State. That motherfucker is all energy. I gotta look some more into it though. Yeah, that dude Clancy there. I was about to say he like 6 foot 277 or something at defensive tackle. Only person that got away with that is Aaron Donald because Aaron Donald's built like Thanos. This dude ain't built like Thanos.
Nah.
But as y'all say about the front seven, I'm still trying to figure out why is this corner conversation coming up with this first pick? What's up with this no-fly zone? We damn near already got a no-fly zone now. I know everybody just wants the shutdown zone, but shit, you can't get no pass rush. Your no-fly zone ain't worth a damn.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Right. But we'll go ahead and wind the show down. Let's see. Hopefully this works this time. Does it work this time? It almost did. There you go. All right, man, we finally got the music going on, and I apologize for everybody for the technical difficulties early in the show. Hey, shit happens. They let you know this is impromptu. Ain't none of this scripted that's coming on up here. As you already know, the heavy hitters definitely appreciate y'all for kicking it with us for the whole season. This is not the last heavy hitter show that you're going to see in the off season. We still got a whole, let me see, it's half of February. You got March, April, May, June, July. After the Super Bowl, we got 6 months of football talk. So this ain't the last you're gonna see of us. So, Jew, you want to go ahead and plug it up? Go ahead and plug what you got planned for the off season. You gonna plug it?
Most definitely. As always, want to thank y'all for tuning in tonight. As always, but I do want to. I'll put it on my community tab. Next week, I'll be doing my first What's the Word Dirty Bird season 3 starts in February. So I want to get you guys' thoughts. What do you guys want to talk about in the first episode of What's the Word Dirty Bird? So I'm gonna put it on my community tab. You guys give me some ideas of what you guys want to hear. Being that it's the off season, we want to give you guys the content that you guys want to hear. But we definitely can do draft talk. I love doing draft talk and things of that nature as well. But whatever you guys want to talk about. I mean, these guys, Mike and Kay, they done hit on pretty much every topic. They hit on the Lamar Jackson. They've hit on the defensive coordinator search. So whatever you guys want to hear, and What's the Word Dirty Bird, for the first episode, I'll put it on my community tab. You guys give me your ideas of what you guys want to hear. And if I see, maybe I'll put a poll up once I get some ideas of what you guys want to hear. And then we'll just do it like that. Whatever comes, once I put the poll up, whatever gets the most votes, that'll be the first What's the Word Dirty Bird. That'll be the topic we'll talk about. But I'm interested, man, to see. We got money. As we said, we went from no money, we moved up like Georgia and Wheezy. So look, now that we got some money, yeah, we're moving on up. Hey, now we're gonna see what they, how they gonna divvy out these funds. But like I said, you guys know what my head is. I'm ready to wreck the quarterback, wreck the backfield of opposing teams. Get the trenches right. We see the two teams that are in the NFC Championship game, the Eagles and the 49ers. Those teams play on your side of the trenches. That's what we need with our Falcons. So with that being said, you guys definitely continue to tune in. Definitely continue to like, share, and subscribe. But we definitely going to continue to give you guys shows. Hopefully we could possibly do like a heavy hitter show maybe once, maybe one Wednesday out of each month. So it won't just be all What's the Word Dirty Birds. But you guys definitely give me your ideas of what y'all want to hear. With that being said, I'll kick it over to the Mad Mike.
Ooh. I'm looking for the guy. I think his name is Elijah Simmons. No, it's not him. He's a defensive tackle. He's about 340. That's a big guy. He's a big guy, but he at Tennessee. And every time I saw him, like he wasn't a guy that wasn't getting a ton of sacks, but he's always around the ball. Those types of players that I look for, is always around the ball, like contributing. And I think Grady Jarrett needs a guy like that, because like if you look at every kid didn't have the best numbers because he was essentially setting up Michael Parsons. So he has those fundamentals. So I think if you look at how the Falcons are constructed, man, they need guys up front that could do a particular job well, and that's what makes Abdullah Anderson good at what he does, because we can be a consistent run stopper. Like, every once in a while he gets some pressure, but for the most part, you can really focus on him and count on him to be able to do to stop the run, and those are the types of players. And another thing too, a lot of people don't remember. They look at Cleveland Farrell, Vic Beasley, but a lot of people don't really know Grady Jarrett was the cleanup guy on that team. He wasn't the popular name on that whole squad. He was doing all the dirty work. Grady Jarrett was doing all the dirty work. Those are the players that a lot of NFL coaches focus on, the guy that do the dirty work. So anytime you see a star player have a lot of numbers in college, look around that D-line and see who's doing all the dirty work, taking on the other team, stopping the run, getting consistent tackles and that things like that. Because, Vic Beasley did the job of getting the quarterback getting sacks. That was one of the main reasons why a lot of those guys now in the NFL. I mean, we're looking at Big Boy in with the Giants, who was like an absolute monster when Lawrence. He looked like a damn monster when everybody just thought he was a big fat slob. That's what they were. They thought he was just a big ass new version of Vita Vea. Just big. That's all he gonna be, is a big run stuffer. This dude is causing absolute hell right now. Wreaking hell and havoc. That's what he's doing. So those are the players that I'm focused on. It's like looking at all the good pass rushes, what everybody talk about. But those are the players that I'm focused on.
And like I said, about like a lot of people were talking about Siaki Ika. I had to take quite a few look at some games. I don't know about him, and I'm going to explain that in a later episode or whatever we got. But definitely, just like you said with what's the word, Dirty Bird, we about to kick off the Chronicles with K-Styles here. I mean, y'all seen it a couple times, so we're gonna start kicking that off. It's off season as well, so we definitely gonna make that Q&A just with me. It's gonna be pretty much kind of like Mike's Unleashed, but as y'all know me, I unleash in a different style. So just know that's coming up soon.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I'm just gonna leave it like this. From what I saw, y'all might want to pay a little bit more attention to them before y'all come to that conclusion. And I'm talking about look at all the snaps, not just highlights. Yeah. The one thing I had to learn about certain players too, especially when it comes to trench players, I'm giving y'all the secret right here. You look at the D-line, O-line, snap counts. They all on YouTube. Go and look at them and tell me what you think. So until next time, people, we ain't here to play.
Oh no.
We here to stay.
Ooh, yeah, dig it.
You ain't gotta go home,
but you gotta get the heck up out of here.
Deuces.